How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show where we talk about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw. On the other side, we got
Tim Wagner is who I am.
Hello, Tim.
Hi.
We got a bit of a rhythm going on with these recordings. How's it going today?
It's going pretty good. Uh, it was a bit of an odd day. Started out things, and I'm like, man, today is gonna be a good day. And
Ice
then,
Cube. I get it.
yes, I didn't even have to use my AK. So things turned out to be a pretty good day. Uh, on any random day, I honestly could have an AK in my truck. I do deliver to a gun shop. There's a good possibility. My truck's probably not the one that you should try to rob, because if things get bad, I'll just close the door and go open up some of the
Some of
boxes.
those gun pads. I know where the guns are because it
I
says
know I
right there,
got guns
this is a
and
gun shop.
ammo. I just gotta hope that the ammo is made for the gun that they
They're
have.
compatible.
Like I got them both here. Damn it. Well, I opened up another box and I found a
Why
hammer and
was
some nails. I'm gonna take this nail and I'm gonna hit it against this bullet. And you might get shot. I don't know where it's going.
it's just scatter? What happened today?
So, well, when I started my day, um, I did a couple of deliveries and then I was driving to one of the businesses and I got sidetracked because I saw a car. And at first, I thought it was the new vet from a distance. I was like,
Mm.
oh, it's red. I was like, is that the new vet? No, that would have been really cool to see. But as I got closer, it turned out to be even doper. It was a 488 Italia, I think is how it pronounced, or uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
No, that's where
Ferrari.
I start to really get out of it.
Dude, yeah, I know. They're hard. It said it on the dash of the car. That's the only reason I know exactly what Ferrari it was. Like, I know them when I look at the pictures, but yeah, I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did a little bit of research and
Oh God.
it's it
Oh
says
God.
from $350,000.
Yeah, which
So
means that's their base price,
that's
basically.
where it starts.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh God.
but yeah, it said the exact car's model on the dash, which I thought was pretty cool. I never saw that before because I don't for being in that delivery van, I'm sitting up a little bit higher so I could see in the front and I could see what kind of car it was because it said it like where a glove box would be instead of being on the back of the car.
Oh
And
shit.
then I googled it to show my wife what I saw because I saw it while I was talking to her. I go, "Oh shit." And I pulled off and I took a look at it. And the funny thing was, is like I circled around the parking lot um, after I saw it and went back out and I saw like three other dudes like pulling off the same thing, like all in work trucks. They're just like, "Oh shit, look at that Ferrari!"
Shit. They're pulling over in their
Right,
fucking heating and cooling
right,
vans going, hell yeah, dude.
right. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
how my day started off pretty much. And I'm like, today's gonna be a
Fuck
good
yeah.
day. And then I got bit by a dog.
Oh
So
shit. Typical sale, like no way. You actually had the stereotype shit happen, huh?
stereotype shit. Well,
Did it bite? It didn't bite you in the ass, though. I'm guessing you're
no,
pretty tall to
it
have a dog bite you in the ass.
yeah, it was relatively short, like about like Abby, my dog. So a little
Yep.
bit
Okay.
short, but like colored like your dog.
Oh, okay.
And he was just an asshole. I went into this business, and so that's the part that's unstereotypical. I didn't walk into somebody's yard. I went into a business and I was supposed to
What?
do a pickup. I had like a tag to pick up this box. She knew I was coming. And I just go into the business and she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to come in here." And she goes, "Can you go back out?" And I go, "Sure." And I'm about to leave and she goes, "Wait, don't move." And then I just stop. And then this little asshole dog comes up and bites me right above my knee.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Ends up,
Really? It went
yeah,
up that high? It still
yeah.
got that high up for being a short dog.
Well, he was standing on his back legs. He like went up as high as he could, kind
Yeah,
of
I
like
suppose.
jumped. and I
Yeah.
think I got lucky. He got me with just the front teeth, I think. Like, didn't really get the
Oh, okay.
canines
Kind of
in
like
there.
that nip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That little
I got a pretty good bruise. Like, and he got the shorts too, so it was just like a hard
son of
pinch.
a
Yeah, he
bitch.
didn't break the
Yeah.
skin, which is good because I don't know what happens with that. Like, I don't know company
Right. Yeah.
policy. Do I gotta go get a fucking rabies shot? I hear those suck.
Right. Or go to the doctor to have it looked at, even though you probably weren't too super worried about it
Yeah,
personally. Yeah.
right. And
Fuck,
yeah,
dude.
but yeah. So
Can't believe the old mailman biting shit. I mean, you're not a mailman, but you're
right.
delivery man. Like, it's
Yep.
just the stereotype is the mailman gets bit by the dog. Like, fuck.
Mhm. But the
Damn,
thing
dude.
is,
That
like,
sucks.
I think it goes off of fear a lot. And this dog was just an asshole. I had no fear of him. I'm just like, "What's up, buddy?" And he just runs up.
Oh,
Like
right.
I'm already talking to him. He just bites
Mm-hmm.
me.
No, what
Like,
the fuck?
just that dog was just an asshole. And the lady's just like, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming in." She didn't even apologize for him biting me. I'm like,
What the hell? See,
yeah.
I also hate owners like that. Ugh.
Oh, she's
It's like,
the
come on.
yeah.
The
She's
worst you can, at
he runs
least
the
you can
yeah.
say sorry. Oh my God. Like, I can't believe he bit you. Are you okay?
Right. He ran the show there for sure. He was the alpha all the way. She's like, I mean, for her to be like, "Don't move." Like, what do you mean, "Don't
Right.
move"? Tell your dog
What
to
do you mean?
stop.
Yeah. I assumed he was in the door and that you were like holding open a door, pushing open a door. You were afraid, like,
No, I
she
came
thought the
in the
door was going to close on the dog.
no, I came in the door and she was across the room and didn't even know I was there until the door closed. And that dog came running from all the way across the room. I didn't think it was a big deal because normally you wouldn't bring your dog to a business if he was a fucking asshole.
Yeah, also, yeah.
But I don't know. They're just like, yeah, he bites people, whatever. I'm gonna bring him to work.
What the fuck?
You should not do that.
Maybe don't bring that dog around that many, like, public events ever.
Right. Yeah. I
What the
mean,
hell? Public locations. I mean, I know business, private, whatever. You get what I mean. Like, don't bring your dog around fucking people.
right. Yeah. It's
What
just,
the
I don't
hell?
know. But yeah.
Man,
So
that
that was my
sucks.
day. Saw a dope car and then got bit by a dog.
Sucks. I had beer delivered to my house and drank one.
Mm.
I I can't complain. Sorry. I don't have any cool stories, so we'll just
Did you,
get into the topics.
well, I need to know more
No, go
about
ahead.
this
What?
though. Did you have it delivered from the liquor store like a pizza delivery guy or what?
Yeah, but better because it was from the local brewery.
Yeah. No, I didn't know because I deliver
So it's
beer and
good.
alcohol all the time. But
To
those,
businesses, right?
no, I deliver to residentials too. But I have
Oh
to have a
shit.
signature for those. Like, so if you're not
Mm-hmm.
home, then I get
Mm-hmm.
to try the next day.
Oh, I gotcha.
I
Yeah,
can't,
no, this is the local brewery, and I've also done it with a delivery service like
like a food dudes.
um yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like whatever your Uber Eats or whoever, but this one's specific to they just sign deals with local liquor stores.
Hmm.
They go pick it up and they drop it off. So you just you have an account
Right.
that you've proven your ID on, and they come to the door and they just fucking drop off your beer. It's
That's
pretty
pretty
rad.
dope. I wish we could do something like that. Like legally, I still have to get a signature for guns and ammo, and well, I don't think it's necessary for ammo, depending on the packaging, but guns for sure, and
Mm-hmm.
alcohol. So like when I deliver to that gun shop, I have to have somebody still sign for that, and I have to have
Yep.
somebody still sign for the alcohol. I don't have to have signatures for anything else because of COVID right now. They just made me get
Mm-hmm.
the first and last name of people, which I am losing my
And then
faith
you
in
enter it.
humanity because of that shit. Whole nother
Oh
topic. I'm
yeah.
not going to get into it, but it's like, geez, I go, hey, can I get a first and last, or first initial and last name? And people will be like, Todd. And just like, Jesus. So now I don't even try. I tried to explain it for a while, and now
First initial
now I
T,
don't.
middle name O, last name letter D. I don't fucking know.
Right. Yeah. Whatever. Todd is your first. Yeah. We're going with it. I just write it down now, and I get people too that have. There's other ones where I'll say first initial and last name, so they'll be like GH, and then I go, okay, so I'm guessing those are just both of your initials. So I have G as your first initial. What's your last name? Assuming that it should start with an H, but they'll be like, it's Gertis. Like, well, then what the fuck was GH?
The fuck was GH mean?
Was
What
G
did
your last
GH mean?
initial, but you said it first? Or, but I've had it before where
Did you
like,
just reverse order me? What
yeah,
the fuck?
but I've had it before too. That's actually happened twice, and neither of them had like neither the letter didn't match the last name at all. Where it was like SR, and then it's like, last name's Franklin. Like what? I don't.
Fuck is
I,
that?
I don't even bother to ask what they're talking about. I just write it down. I write SR Franklin and leave, and then just like if there's an issue, I just let the customer service people, it's a SR Franklin, and just have them be
Yeah.
like, no, there's nobody here. Why would he write that? Well, because what you said, you fucking idiot.
It's what you said. Duh. God.
I don't know.
Yeah. I suppose it's way different for you though, because you're delivering like other people are delivering inside the building or people are ordering it and then sending it somewhere else. Like me, like I said, I just start an account. They drop it off. I just show my ID through the door. Bada boom. They're gone. Like they just, yeah, it's you. Cool.
Yeah,
Like
right. I mean,
I'm logged in basically saying like, hey, I'm the person you're going to be delivering this to. See, it's me later.
right. Well, and when I'm delivering the booze to the residentials, that's pretty much the same thing. Like I'm supposed to see an ID and it has the person's name on the label and stuff. I'm just
Hmm.
saying, like when
Yeah, I
for
suppose.
any
Okay, I
for
get it.
for any other package to a business, I'm supposed to get a first initial and last name for like proof that
Hmm.
I've left it with
Right.
somebody.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Just it's more of making sure that the business knows where their package is, so they're not calling up saying,
Right.
"Where's our package?" And then
Yeah. And you're like, I left it with GH. I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
okay.
I left it with that
All
one.
right. Let's.
So yeah. Anyways,
All right. Let's let's not go too much further down the work
yes,
because we got two topics to talk about today, and we're
yes,
10
sir.
minutes in. And as we do, we got the two topics. First one is going to be about fishing, and I'm going to talk. Practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about casting because I have questions, and I'm sure you have answers. I hope.
Let's get
Of
it.
course, I did my research on some of this, and we'll get into that. Part two after the break. Our random take is video games again. I'll probably be doing this a lot, but
Why
I wanted
not?
to specifically talk about fighting games because me and you specifically have a really, really fun history with fighting games. And if we get into new stuff about fighting games over the internet and how COVID has changed fighting games and stuff, that might be where we go. But anyways, casting practice
Yeah.
specifically. So I practice makes perfect is that whole thing you're taught, right? That's like
Yes.
if you play a sport, if you ever have done anything competitively in your life, you always hear practice makes perfect. For me, fishing has never been that. It's never a competition. For me, it's going catch a fish, eating it. But we've talked already on the podcast enough times about how there are pros that are competitive. Like there's a whole industry of professionalism, professional athletes, I will say, uh, when it comes to fishing. If so, that means they have to be practicing, right?
For sure. Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the studying of the lake and stuff like that. I mean, they have to be actually practicing their skill. Yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you got. I mean, casting, especially when you're a professional, when you're trying to get one up on the competitors, you need to your casting game has to be on point because there's a couple of different casts and well, there's more than a couple of different casts, but You know, when
I would
you're
assume.
yeah, when you're like flipping and pitching, you kind of cast it underhand almost, and you kind of swing the bait, and the idea of
Is that one? So is flipping and pitching, is that one type of cast? Or is it
they're
flipping and pitching?
no, that's two. Yeah, they're similar.
Okay.
Yeah. So like to be
And
100% honest, I don't really know what the different like if you said like show me the two different ones, I don't know. But I
yeah,
know
and
I
actually
know
right now I don't want to get super deep down into like each one individually. I'm just sort of the high level because when you say flipping and pitching, to me I go, that must be two different things, right?
yeah, and
But so when you're practicing it, because this would be something you would practice,
yes.
or you
Yes.
you maybe practice, because this is a
Yeah.
real passionate hobby for you. I
Mhm.
assume you practice sometimes.
Yeah, so not knowing exactly what it's which one is what, there's there's a method of where you kind of take the bait in your one hand and you got the rod in your other, and you kind of like swing it forward underhand, and what your
Mm.
idea of doing is kind of bringing the bait just above the surface of the water, and then you set it down real gently so it doesn't splash. You know,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
it's very subtle, and that way you're
Mm-hmm.
not scaring the fish where you're casting it.
Yeah.
You know, some of the fish can be
Yeah.
spookier at times, so that takes
Mm-hmm.
some practice because it's not like you're just gonna walk out there and be like, "Oh, I seen this in a YouTube video. It's gonna work perfect." You know,
Right.
you gotta, especially like that kind of cast you would do with the bait casting reel, and the bait casting reel you really gotta dial it in to get it to let the line out properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
you have it
And
too tight, you're gonna swing that lure, like fling it way up in the air or whatever. It's not
mm-hmm.
gonna do what you want. So
Yeah, so you all have to not only practice to get good at the cast, but practice to dial in your equipment for
yes,
that particular type of cast even.
yep, yep,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then there's, you know, just if I'm fishing along a dock or whatever, if I want to cast, you know, if you're just casting close to the dock, you might be able to get the fish to come out. But if you can cast so it's going past it and you're pulling it along the structure, or you're casting between the dock and the pontoon boat, you know, like you're going to
Mm-hmm.
maximize your chance of catching fish because the fish are under that. So if you can get the lure to where they are. So I do, I practice, but it's more like in real time. I've done it before at home and
Mm-hmm.
stuff when I'm bored, or when it's early spring and I'm just got an itch to go fishing. Like, I'll go out in the yard and practice my casting
Mhm.
since I can't do anything else. But
Yeah,
uh,
that's actually what I was going to ask is if it is something that you do on dry land, is it something that people do on dry land to just to get good at a specific kind of cast as you're talking about, or is it to dial in
oh, for
equipment? Like,
sure.
do you have to be on the water? I'm guessing.
No, you don't
No.
have to be on the water yet because it, if you just get accurate at putting it places, it's going to be the same when you go out into the water.
Hmm.
I mean, you know, the wind can play a role, but the wind can play a role when you're
Right.
outside in your backyard too. So it's,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like
yeah,
if you're a golfer or a pitcher in baseball, you set up a net and you just keep throwing at the same
yep,
spot on the net
yeah,
and try to get your pitching accurate. Or if you're golfing, you just put up a pin and you just chip and you do that all in your backyard and
yep,
you just keep doing it over and over and it's in your backyard. It's what you
yeah.
have. It's where you practice and it works though. It helps, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah, and I know a lot of um, the pros will like set up tires or whatever and try to cast from a distance through the tires. Just because we don't
Like a quarterback with the tire in a football?
exactly. Yep.
No way.
Yeah, same shit, man. You gotta hit that small window because I remember Mike Iaconelli talking about how one of the tournaments like there was a cast that needed to be made, and or no, maybe it wasn't Ike. I think it might have been Kevin Van Dam because he's
Too
got pretty,
professional.
yeah, two
Yep.
very famous
Very, very
professional.
famous. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
it might have been Kevin Van Dam that was talking about how there was some window that he had to cast through. Like it was like the perfect spot, and if he could get it through there, he was gonna catch. There's trees or whatever. I can't remember what the scenario was, but
Mm-hmm.
his his practice and getting those casts on point, like he was able to get it right to where he needed to get it to. Because sometimes there's logs that are laying down or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it only makes sense to cast into one certain spot so you can retrieve the bait properly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have to hit that window in order to bring it back. So yeah, practicing definitely helps. But and it it helps a lot too to practice in your backyard to use like a weight or use your lure in your backyard, because if you mess up in your backyard, you can just walk over to the tire and grab your lure. If you mess up
And grab your lure
when you're
back.
out, yeah, if and it gets hung up on the tree that's like 6 trees in, like there's no getting that lure back sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah, especially depending on what you were trying to cast over and like, just there's sometimes you're just not going to get there. That's it. Like you casting onto near private property,
right,
there's a cliff wall there in the river, and you just got it caught, 3 trees deep, and you're on a boat and the water's fast. There's so many scenarios you could just come up with where, well, that lure's stuck in the tree now, fuck.
yep, yeah, for sure,
And
yeah.
you said you do this in real time most of the time. You're
I
practice casting,
yeah,
so
I
do
do
you
it.
lose a lot of lures then, or like how does that work?
No, because I don't take a ton of risks. Like when I'm making these
Mm-hmm.
casts, I'll be in a boat with a trolling motor. Like if I try to make a cast on a dock and I screw up, I can always just
Mm-hmm.
drive closer. Like I basically ruin that spot because now my boat's right on top of the fish and they're probably not going to bite anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I can just go up to the dock and retrieve it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the cabin
Yeah,
owner might not be happy that I'm on his dock, but I think they
but
understand
sometimes,
too.
yeah,
I mean, if
yep.
I hook like their boat cover and put a hole in their boat cover, they're gonna be pissed. But I'm good enough that I'm not gonna put it on top of their boat when I'm trying to put it between the boat and the dock. Like I might get hung up
Right.
on the dock if I got like a narrow foot window. Like
Mm-hmm.
I might get it hung up someplace. But
Yep. Yeah. And the what you were saying about the casting in your backyard, and oh, well, if you break the line, you can just go get it. Um, the only so I had a practice caster when I was a little kid, to actually just pass the
hmm
time and learn how to fish before you go out on the boat. I
yep.
think it was my ducktails. I think
Oh,
it was my
woo.
ducktail fishing rod. Ooh. And yeah, and it had this like rubber weight on it, and that's all it was. I would just throw this rubber weight out, so I could
Yeah.
actually, like, little 5-year-old kid just throwing this rubber weight around.
hmm
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense because it's heavy, like, bait and lures and stuff like that would be. But I remember there was a couple times just trying to get knots out, before going fishing, and that I've thrown it out and just kind of like tried to get the cast, like, I got a jam here, and the lure goes out, hits the lawn. Uh, I'm trying to untangle everything and reel it up, and get my knot that I created undone, and the lure's stuck in the ground.
hmm
And I think to myself, well, this, how would you practice like this? Isn't the lure just going to stick to the ground, or like, how do you? If you're actually practicing with lures, or are there casting practice lures? I couldn't find anything when I was doing the research.
Well, it doesn't change the weight too much. You can just take off the hooks.
Hmm.
There's the split rings. You can just take the hooks off.
Oh, I never thought those things are just little tiny key rings. Like they look exactly like a ring that you put your keys on, but they're
Yeah.
tiny.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
So you can.
shit. I never even thought about those before until right
Yeah.
now in this moment.
If you're trying to do that, otherwise a lot of people cast like jigs, and they have um. It's pretty easy to get them. They have like little protectors, like little plastic sleeves that you can slide over the hook point, and then it
Oh,
won't hook up on stuff. Like a lot of, if you go into like a bait shop that has like Northland tackle spinner baits. There's a couple of different
Okay.
brands that don't have packaging. They'll just hook the
Oh,
just like hang the safety pin style spinner bait on the rack, and they'll put those little
no
sleeves over the
shit.
hook. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. So I
So
have
you could,
some of
yeah, you just
those
save that
left
and then
over in my
use that for
tackle.
practice.
Yeah, slip that over, and then it could still get hung up on stuff, but it's not really gonna hook into anything. Because
Right. Yeah.
the jigs when you're doing like that pitching or flipping, you're using jigs, but a lot of
Mm.
times you're trying to cast like the crankbaits. I don't. Some square bills I'll cast around docks, but otherwise I don't cast a lot of crankbaits around. So I can also use like a a worm. Like I think that's a big thing for people to try to practice
Oh,
is using a worm and hooking
like
the
just an artificial worm,
yep, and
like a.
you can put the hook through it so it's like the hook point doesn't pop out at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I love fishing weightless. So no
Oh.
weights, just a hook and the worm or a hook and a fluke, which is uh, soft plastic that looks kind of minnowish, and
Oh, yeah.
you just
Okay.
hook that in and you can just cast that. And those are light, so when you're casting them, it's kind of hard to get the hang of that.
That's what
But
I was gonna say about that actually, is that sounds so light. That actually sounds like something I would try to practice with because I'm used to fishing bobbers and weight. Like that's my main thing, just bobber
yeah,
fishing. You got enough lead on there to get that hook to go down straight. So it
right,
all just flies right off the reel or
yeah, and
whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah, the weightless with the spinning setup or the open face, whatever people want to call them, like you have, is pretty easy to cast. When you start trying to cast it with a bait caster, that can be hard because the
Mm,
it's so light and
yeah.
the way the spool works on the bait caster and stuff, you have to actually get the spool spinning instead of the spinning reel. The line just comes off the reel. It doesn't move when you're casting it.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
It's funny how little. No, it's great how much you know and how little I could actually learn going into this. When I was writing this, this was actually the one I was writing when I just sent you the message on Slack, like, dude, I didn't finish. I need to do more research. Um, because I could hardly find I couldn't really find anything. Like every time you just like practice casting, everything is fly fishing on Google. The whole first page, you get like 4 YouTube videos and it's all just fly fishing. And I'm just like, wait, whoa, hold on. And then you got the little like Google shop that pops up in there too, and
Yeah.
it's just hitting all the shops. And Amazon had a little kid one where it had these like uh it was just like a little kid rod and reel setup, and it had a practice casting set in it, and they look like little lures. But what they would do is when they hit the water, they turned into sponges. So you know how? Did you ever have those where you'd have those
Yes.
like little capsules and you'd
That's
run it
awesome.
underwater and it would pop up to be a dinosaur or some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, but these were like it looks like a lure, and then you throw it in the water, kid will reel it back. It got a little blue sponge fish on the end.
That's that's kind of cool to have
That
them
was yeah,
cast it out and then it like actually and you're like landing a fish. It's cool in that regard. Initially, I was like,
yeah.
that's stupid because you get to cast once, but then I was like, but they are landing a fish then. So
Yeah,
I
yep,
guess,
and that's what it took a while for that to set in for me too, because I thought I went through the exact same process you did.
yeah, that's kind of cool though. I mean, it depends on what they charge for them. I should look into that for Beckett.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That was one of the first things that crossed my mind. I was like, ah, shit, I should have put the link in the notes, but like, you just Amazon Kid Rod, I'm sure it'll come up.
Right.
You just put in,
Like if
Amazon
yeah,
Kid Fishing Set or
if they
whatever.
try to charge like regular lure prices, eh, I love my son, but I think we can just wait until he's old enough to catch a real fish on a real lure that we can use more than once.
Right, right, right. But yeah, I was just really it was cool to see that, but it was very funny to Google this and say uh it and see that it was basically all fly fishing and just a few things to buy. There was no one talking about it the way that you just did and the way that we are. Uh, and before we go into the second topic, I just want to know if there's anything that you anything more that you want to point out. Like, do you have tips for the listeners, or like things that you do to practice? Or I don't want to move on before you feel
Mm,
fulfilled, because me, I know a ton now, and we'll go into the different reels and actually casting and how to practice
yeah,
that and stuff like that. I just wanted to talk generally about practicing, because I just thought about, like, these people are pros. There's people out there that really take this shit seriously. There has to be some form of practice that happens. So it was really cool.
yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely one of those guys. Like, I would love to tournament fish. I have been aspiring to tournament fish my whole, well, not my whole life, but ever since I got into fishing. Like, I got into bass fishing, and I'm like, oh yes, this is a sport, and I'm a competitive person already. Like, yes, I want to battle. I want to go out here and I want to try to beat these people and just learn learn how to do everything. But um,
Hmm.
I guess as far as like casting goes, if people are out there like wanting to practice different casting, start with a spinning reel. If like, it's way easier to cast with a spinning reel. It just is. The line just comes off easier. Get it down like that, and then move to a bait caster. Because with a spinning reel, you don't have to worry about messing with the reel. You just have to worry about the cast. With a bait caster, you have to worry about using the reel and casting. It's
And
yeah,
I want to, because I know that we want to be all inclusive, and even new fishers, if fishermen, fisher people, if that's a thing that I know. So can you even just describe? And again, we'll get into all the reels and stuff like that in different episodes. But open, what'd you say? Spinner
so a
and a
spinning
bait caster.
yeah, a spinning reel is also referred to as like an open face reel. It's the kind that hangs underneath the rod. So you got the rod, and then you have the reel that hangs underneath it.
Yeah, it's
And
like the one in the logo of the Real AF TV. It's the
yes,
one in the logo of the Real AF
exactly.
TV logo.
Yes,
Yep.
that's a spinning reel. So, and the spool is um what's what's the word for
Uh,
not horizontal
Vertical.
or not vertical? I'm screwing all this up. Not
It's okay.
it,
Everybody has a brain fart every once in
opposite.
a while.
Your rod goes straight forward, and the spool faces opposite. Like, it doesn't.
Hmm.
I can't think
Hmm.
of it. Par-
No, you don't have to think of
parallel
the word. You're right.
parallel is the straight word that I was thinking of. It's the opposite of parallel. I can't think of it. But anyways, like, because of the way the spool faces,
Perpendicular is the word that you're looking for, I think, but it doesn't,
maybe
because
could be
anyways, it doesn't
opposite.
matter.
Yeah. Anyways, the line does not. The spool doesn't roll for the line to come off. The spool faces sideways, kind of. Just
Hmm.
Google spin and reel, because you'll see what I'm talking about, and the line just comes off of it. Just the way it's set up, because it's open like that, the line will just reel off of it. There's a bail. You open up the
Yeah, it
bail.
comes off of it like twine off of like twine unrolls like that, or like string kind of unrolls like that. If you're
Yeah,
holding the
yeah,
string in your hand, um, like a baseball, and the whole of the string is pointed away from your body and towards your body, like you're holding the tube of the string in your hand, and you pull it straight forward. That's how the line feeds off of
yeah,
the spinning reel.
yeah. So the spinning reel. I mean, there's a bail. You open the bail, and then you can cast. When the bail is closed, there's a little guide on there that when you reel, it spins around the spool and puts it back on. But in a bait caster, the reel is set up so the spool is it
Is it like a
unravels.
kite? Is that like how
Yes,
you'd fly a kite,
right.
right? It
Yes, a
rolls
bait.
off that way.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
And that one, when you crank it in, it just reels it up like a winch almost. And when you cast it
Mm-hmm.
out,
Yeah,
it's the same.
perfect.
Yeah, and when you cast it out, it's the same thing in reverse, where the spool just spins and the line comes out. But the thing with a
Mm-hmm.
bait caster is that doesn't stop by itself. So if you cast it out and the line's going, you have to physically stop it by yourself when the bait hits the water. Otherwise, that'll keep spinning and the
Mm-hmm.
line will all come off the reel and give you what they call a rat's nest,
Yep. Yep.
and
That's
it's
why
a
you said
mess.
start with that spinner, practice
Right?
different
Yes.
castings with
Start.
that,
Yep.
and
Start
get
with the
good
spin.
at that first.
Yep. Because that's get your if you're new to it, get the casting down first, and then figure out how to use the bait caster reel. I mean, you could go straight into bait casting if you want. Don't let me tell you you can't, but that's how I would do it. That's how I did do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just that, yeah, practice casting, just get good at being accurate, I would say, is probably like, I mean, there are different reasons to practice, but I would say that that's good. That's really good info. I like these sort of conversations where I accidentally Google something and it turns into like, hey man, I can't really find anything out there. So hopefully you know more.
Yeah, that's just life experience about the casting and stuff. But I've watched enough and learned enough from different pros and stuff that, um, yeah, practice can definitely play a big role. And there's so many. I mean, I don't need to get into all the different kinds. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but just to tell you that there's, you can physically skip you can physically skip a like a jig or something underneath a dock
Mm,
if you get good,
hmm.
like you're skipping a rock, tick, 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 and
Sure.
there's a number of different things you can do with casting. So if you just get, practice on that stuff, and obviously the skipping, you're only going to be able to practice that on the water, but you can still do that too. You don't have to go to a nice lake to go fishing. Just find some water and practice skipping it. People might look at you like you're crazy when you're just casting in the fountain at the mall or whatever, but
But hey, practice is
hey,
practice.
hey, I needed some water. Just got this new jig, guys. Got to test it out.
And I can't get on the water today, but I can take lunch in the food court. So
Right.
here we go. All right, man. Well, on that note, let's move on to topic two, to fighting video games. We'll take our short break that we usually do
Yeah.
and close the door on practice casting because it's done over. We're never even going to talk about it again. No, we'll
Dun
open
dun.
it up again when we get into more specific rods, reels, or uh, reels and uh, different types of casting, and how that costs, as we started already talked about with the bait caster. So,
Yeah.
all right, on to break. Let's go.
Yeah.
Give us that beatbox.
Break time. Break time. same, same break time. So
Oh, and we're back from break. This is the Real AF TV podcast, and I'm still Josh LaBaw, and on the other side is still Tim Wagner.
I think,
And oh no, what happened? You lost? You lost who you might be.
you know, I I don't I don't think anything changed, but I can't say for certain. I've been sitting in this room all alone, and I don't think I changed people, but I
But
can't
who's
say.
to say,
Who's
man?
to say? I don't have a second opinion. It's just me.
There's nobody here to give me a second opinion, so how am I supposed to know?
It's just me. I should still be Tim, but I never know.
All right. So this is a video game topic. We're for our random take of the podcast. The reason why I specifically picked fighting games is because I think, first of all, me and you have a unique history with fighting games in
Yes.
general. We had a hot second there in high school where we were. Ah, man, that was PS2 when we were
Yep.
doing that. Um, I have Virtua Fighter 4 down here, but was it
Ooh,
Virtua Fighter
boy.
3 that we were playing? Wasn't it?
Oh, it was 4.
It was 4. Okay.
Yep.
I thought I had screwed that up there for a second, but oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say we are definitely not fighting game experts. We are not like fighting game tournament people.
No.
And I just want to mention Smash Bros. Really quick. Hardly play it. Own the game. Love to play with my nieces, nephews, parties, things like that. But if you came for Smash Bros, that's not happening. Have you even played it?
Yeah, I've played it, but that game makes me feel like I'm old. Like, I like playing fighting games, but that's one of those games where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm
Yep,
looking at,
I just smash on shit,
oh,
just
I'm
smashing
looking at
sticks
the
and buttons.
screen, like I lose my character all the time. I'm like,
Oh yeah, doing for 4 player. Oh my god.
yeah, I'm like, who am I? And then all of a sudden I see my character go like flying in the background. I'm like, oh shit, I've been looking at the wrong guy.
I thought I was Link, and
Right.
here the whole time I've been Yoshi, son of a bitch.
Yeah, if I
Green
can,
character, blend in.
right, if I consistently pick the same character every time, or played it more consistently. But the thing with that is like, I'll pick a different game or a different character every time. Like, I wonder what this guy's like, and then I choose him,
Yep,
and I
yep,
forget who I am or what's going on, and then I don't know any of the buttons, and I don't understand how anything works. Like,
yes,
all of a
yeah.
sudden I'll
But no,
just like
I'm with
land
you.
the punch, and the guy goes flying a million feet. I'm like, yes, I think I win, and then
Fuck
he pops
yes.
back in, and I'm like, what's
Lands
going
back
on?
right in front of you, starts
Yeah,
beating your ass. You're like, how the fuck did that happen?
right. And I look up at the top, and they're like, yeah, negative 187%. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
The fuck does that even mean?
I don't I don't know what's happening. And then at the end,
Yes.
they like show, and it's like, you got second, and I'm like, I did. That's not bad, I guess. What?
You're like, all right.
I did better than I thought. I guess I thought I was losing this whole time, and I got second out of
Yes.
4.
So when we're talking about fighting games, we're talking fucking health bars on the top. We're talking about
Yeah.
combos and knowing what we're doing. Because I've played a decent amount of fighting games. I go to this video game tournament that they have over here in Shakopee at Mystic Lake. I take
Ooh.
the nephews there,
Yes.
and they have these PS4s or Switches and stuff like that set up. So we play Smash there, yeah. But they also have a bunch of real fighting games on there, um, like Street Fighter 4, uh, Mortal Kombat 11. They have real fighting games on there, and I'm just mashing buttons. But when we used to play Virtua Fighter, dude, we knew what buttons we were hitting, what directions we were using. We knew the combos of these people.
Yes. For sure. Like, it was it was calculated, where like I'm coming in,
Yes.
and I'm throwing this jab, and then the low kick, and like I
You knew the next move you were going to throw, exactly what it was going to do, where it was going to be. You just hoped the other person was there to get hit by it.
right. Yep. I mean,
And you would adapt, like,
it's like
right? I
real.
mean,
Yeah. I mean, I don't fight professionally. I never have, but it's like real fighting. Like, it's countering, trying to throw jabs. Trying to trying to land a punch. It's real stuff. You think the low kick's gonna work. If it doesn't work, you try to change it up.
yeah,
It's
yeah. You regroup and you know exactly what button you're hitting, what button you're going to hit, and what button combination, I should say, you're
yes.
going to hit next.
Yep.
And it feels good because like you can see it in your head what's happening next. And you always play one step ahead. But like you said, if you have to pull back, you
Yeah.
can. You pull back, you block, you know how to block.
Mm. Not me.
Oh yeah, that's right. You never blocked. Oh my god.
I don't block. I evade.
You never blocked.
I mean I've done it before because on Virtua Fighter there was like challenges. I think that was on the fifth one. The fifth one had setups where you had to actually go
Mm-hmm.
in and accomplish stuff to move on or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for the most part, I do the double back button. I'd come in, I'd take a couple of shots, and then I'd back up, and I'd come in, and I'd kind of get in close and wait for them to make a move, and then instead of blocking and letting them hit me to make a counter, I'd kind of time it with like I'd back up and I'd watch them throw like 2-2, and then their low kick, and there's their combo, and it's like right there
You
at the
now you
low
know
kick,
that
I'd come
character
in.
enough.
Right, and
Yeah.
I'd wait for them to throw their combination, and right at the end of their combination, I come in and hit them when they can't block, when they're still throwing their last punch or whatever.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? It's like you would get to know the character so well that when you saw a move, you knew when an opening was coming.
Yep, yeah, and it worked. I mean, it worked a lot better.
Fucking right, it
It
worked.
worked a lot better on the AI than it did in real life because Virtua Fighter 5 they
Mm-hmm.
started having um, you know, the online stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I did I did okay, but in the game I was like against the AI, I was real good against the AI.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that quite well. Um you were always the drunken fighter, the drunk old man.
No, sometimes the drunk old man, but I liked Lao, the
Lao?
the other Asian guy that yelled "Horia!"
Really? Oh man,
Yes.
I thought. Oh, you know why I always remember it was the drunk old man because he was my personal feud. His fighting style was the one that I had a hard time learning. As we were just talking about, you would watch the characters, you would learn them, you would get to know their move set. Like, okay,
Yeah.
kick, kick, go. Okay, there's the combo. Now here's the opening attack.
Right.
I could never do that for him. I could never do that for him. So I remember you being him
He had real
because
yeah.
I always hated him no matter what. I just could not read that motherfucker.
Well,
It
he
drove
was
me up the
super
wall.
hard to read because he'd be like he'd have some of the same moves, but then a different actual attack would come out of it. Like he'd turn and like he'd look like he was gonna fall down, and sometimes he'd throw a kick, and sometimes he'd throw like a weird punch out of it. So he was a hard one to read. But yeah, sometimes I was the drunk guy. Sometimes I was Cage, which was the like straight ninja looking dude.
Yeah, I was gonna. He reminds me of Ninja Gaiden.
Yes, yes, a lot.
Yeah. Uh huh.
And I've been playing as Cage since the first Virtua Fighter when they were all super
Yeah.
boxy and stuff. And you have the
Oh yeah.
crazy ass when the physics were weird and you like when you jumped it you just float there. He'd have that big flying headbutt thing and he gets like 15 feet in the air. You're just like Jesus, straight onto the top of his head, like boom. Whoa,
I
that's a hell
remember that.
that's a hell of a move. But
That's
him,
quite the okay.
yeah, him and the drunken guy just had slow moves. Like they were good, but they were a little bit slow.
Yeah.
And Lau was real fast, and that's what I liked. I would do that evade, and then I'd come in with the quick jabs, pop, 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 and he would always do that one kind of like uppercut thing with the open palm, and he'd go, "Horia,
Oh, oh yeah.
horia."
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would do, and then I'd do that uppercut open palm thing and get you in the air, and then I'd do like a you could do a number of combos from there with kicks and these backward
Once you got him,
elbows.
because
Like
once you got him up in the air.
yeah, once you got them in the air, then you could throw another combo before they hit the ground, so you could really fuck somebody up if you caught them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that was
But
the thing is you could get him in the air. That was and I still like almost every game I play. I'm the fast person as well. I need the speed because if I don't have the almost immediate reaction of my button presses happening, I get lost in my own combo.
yeah, I could kind of. understand that. Like I've had the same thing where you're trying to throw a combo and you hit like four buttons and you jab once and you're like, Jesus, come on, man. Throw the
Get your shit
that's
together.
why I never understood like Akira. When you're trying to fight Akira, when he's throwing those bombs, like he can fuck you up. But when you try to play as him, at least for
Dude,
me, you're just like,
for
God,
me
I'm
too.
moving so slow. I can't do anything with this guy.
Yeah, I could never figure out those slower characters like that. I just couldn't. Which is weird to say because then, I mean, he's not that slow, I guess. But on Virtua, no, on Street Fighter, and we played Street Fighter, I'm E Honda.
Right.
Not exactly a speedy character, but he has fast moves.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
got
just
quick
learned how to
hands,
use
quick
those.
jabs.
Yep, and he can fly through the air. He does that flying headbutt thing that if I'm
Hmm.
far away, I can get close quickly and
Yeah. And Virtua
things like
Fighter
that.
didn't have anything like that. Like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and stuff have those special moves where these people actually have powers. Where Virtua Fighter and like DOA,
Mm-hmm.
those are just fighting games. I mean, like you had special moves. DOA was more unrealistic than Virtua Fighter, but everything with Virtua Fighter was
But
pretty
it's
on
all
par.
kept fair. Yeah, and it's kept in a pretty tight realm of reality.
Yeah, I mean
I think,
DOA
and
wasn't too fake. It was just
mhm.
there's some stuff that was a little bit far fetched, but
Right, yeah. Well, especially the wrestling moves when you would have the wrestlers and they would do like real deal like suplexes and stuff where you would
right,
just break a person's spine and they would never get up from it.
right.
Or
Or they'd have like a 540 uh like body slam, and you're just like, why all that rotation?
what's with all the spinning? Yeah, but
Right.
DOA was, oh my god, we could really get into a DOA because remember that has the counter system.
Yes. Yeah, dude.
Oh my
I
god,
remember
that
some
changed my life
epic
for the first
battles.
time playing DOA 2 on PS2 and you figure out those counters. Oh my god, we would
Yes.
have not just us, but I mean the group of there'd be like 5 of us around the PlayStation at night and we would just go to town on that game.
Right. And then as a spectator too, like that was one of the first games that I enjoyed watching because as a young adolescent, when somebody's using one of the girls, they had all of them had enormous boobs and they
Oh
bounced
my
a
god.
lot.
Lots of bouncing going on in that game.
Lots
Oh
of
yeah.
bouncing. And it was
Oh
the
yeah, and
best.
you're a teenager, you're just like,
Right. And right
"Whoa."
when that came out, that was like unheard of. Like we just went from
That
boxy boobs to like now they actually move like real boobs. Like,
right.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
bud. Well, look at this
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It was a huge change at a time of life when you're just like, boobies.
Right. You remember
It was
Midnight Club? Like when that was
mhm.
just like the first time we played that, we were just in awe. Like, look at these graphics.
I
These
know the
cars look
lights,
like
the
real
reflection.
cars.
Oh my, yeah, the neon of the night and
Yes.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we got fighting games, and they're like, oh, they look like real people. Oh my god.
Yes, but we should. So I played DOA 6 because there was a demo out on PS4 for a little while,
Hmm.
and the controls are almost spot on. They've obviously made tweaks
Sure.
because fighting games are now more of a platform, so they can just say one of the characters is overpowered. They just reconfigure it and then send a patch out. Boom, that character now has a little bit more pause between this combo, and there you go.
Mm.
It balances it out. So there's a little bit of differences, and obviously from DOA 2 to DOA 6, there has to be changes. But I still played as Sarah Bryant in DOA 6 and on the demo, and it was online only. I held my own still, dude. I
Isn't
don't
she a
know.
crossover too?
Oh, between
I,
Virtua Fighter and
yeah, isn't that the same Sarah in both? Or no?
actually, I'm wrong. It's Tina. It's Tina
Teen. Oh
on.
yes, looks like Sarah.
Yeah, I did. I screwed them up because we were talking about both. But yes, yeah, they're very close. Yep,
Yes,
they they have the they're both blonde haired white chicks, but what
with
they have
siblings
in
in the game,
common.
or with
Oh yeah,
family in the game, not siblings. But
family.
Sarah's got
Yeah,
her brother's Jackie, and
because
Tina's got her dad. I forget what his name
that's
is.
right. Yeah, I can't remember either. I'd be able to. I'm sure I could look through. But yeah, isn't it that he's a fighter or he's a wrestler and
Yeah, I think he's the
she's
wrestler.
yep, and she is
Yeah,
a
'cause
wrestler too, but she's a new, more higher flying Jackie Bryant. There it is. I looked him up.
right. Yeah, 'cause Virtua Fighter had, like, if you went through the arcade mode and you're trying to beat
That's virtual.
everybody, they
Mm-hmm.
had it was more of a like you're about to fight this guy, and the guy would just come out and say his thing. Like I remember Cage Morrow would say something like, eh, "One of the doors are sucking us." It sounded like that, and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
"All right, we're about to fight this guy." But DOA had an actual storyline, and that's how I knew it was her dad because you're
Mm-hmm.
fighting or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, dad." He just comes out of
Oh
nowhere
yeah.
and he
Mm-hmm.
says some shit. I don't think you ever fight him. You might. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember how that all
Getting a
unfolds, but
little
I
bit of
do. Yeah, I do
squabble.
remember that fighting games tried the story thing pretty. It's hard when you have like limited space and
Yeah.
they're all focused on fighting. But
Mortal
now I guess Mortal Kombat has like a full on one. You know a little
Yeah,
bit about
Mortal
that.
Kombat does a pretty good job with the story. Like it's not the best stories, but they have a pretty decent one. Like when you're going through, you know, they make it seem more not like you're just fighting this person because it's time to fight. You're like, "Oh, we're flying this jet and we're going through, you're being uh Cage and
Hmm.
uh Johnny Cage to be specific.
Johnny
Uh
Cage, the Hollywood
yeah, the Hollywood
badass.
guy, and you're like, yeah, we're flying through here, and for whatever reason, Johnny's like, yeah, I'm here to help the cops or whatever, and then they're just like, yeah, well, you got beef with the cops, so now you got to fight that striker or whatever his name is. He's a cop, or
Oh
there's actual
yeah.
more of a storyline where it's like, now you're in the
Hmm.
desert and you got to fight this half bug girl. They got some new characters. I don't remember all the
Yeah, yeah,
names
yeah.
anymore.
Right. Yeah, the Mortal Kombat, like you were saying about Smash Bros, is like you go in and you pick new characters. It's like the Mortal Kombat anthology, I think it was called, where there was like the entire top part of your screen was taken, like the top, literally the top half of your screen was taken up by characters, and
Right,
then your character was actually just this tiny little thing in the bottom half. Like, yeah, here's the character you are. There was like 15 ninjas.
right. Yeah, yeah. You had that was a lot different game in that one. They tried a couple different things where they're like, we're gonna have like a side-scrolling version, or we're gonna have one where you're fighting your way through stuff. It's not gonna be just the regular fighting game like you're used to, and
Hmm.
it was it was different. Like I don't know if it got good reviews or
So,
not. It wasn't for me. That's
did you
not.
just kill a bug or did you close your laptop? Okay, so we lost connection there for a second, but I don't know exactly where we were. Do you remember?
Oh, we were talking about Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat
Oh
and
yeah,
how they
Mortal
like
Kombat is
went
crazy.
off on their little weird tangents where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna try to make a little bit different game." But going talking about Mortal Kombat, like that's where I got my start. Like, well, I played Street Fighter and Virtua Fighter in the actual arcade before that, but the first fighting game I ever owned
Hmm.
was Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo.
Hell yeah, that was Mortal Kombat 2, I'm guessing, right?
I think I had
I'm
yeah I think I
just
had Mortal Kombat 2, and then I had Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
yep.
And that
Yes,
game,
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
and that dude,
That was
that was
kind of the
such
start of that huge, wasn't it? Of like that huge playable amount of characters, or was that just I
yeah.
don't remember that one
The
as much.
Ultimate
I had
Mortal
Mortal Kombat
Kombat
2.
3 had so many characters. Yeah, because
Mhm.
Mortal Kombat 2 was a really good game. Um, like
Solid. The one that
breaking.
really put Mortal Kombat on the map. That was
Yeah,
really the one that like busted him through the door.
yeah. Well, even the first one made a lot of noise, but people are like, "Oh my god, it's so
Mostly
violent!"
for the violence. Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
and they
I'm
look
not
like
saying it
real
wasn't a
people,
solid game. I don't know,
right?
but
they look like real people. Well, they look like real people, but the violence doesn't look real. Like
I know,
they,
so fucking
yeah,
fake.
they are real people. That's why they look like real people. They just took actual like actual real actors and
Yeah,
film, like
and
you can
put them in the
tell they're
game.
real people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's why there's
Even in 16-bit mode, were well translated real actors.
yeah,
Yeah, you could tell.
and that's why there's so many different, like even in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 they really stepped it up, but that's why there's so many different robots and guys like Scorpion, because they could just use that same actor that they already filmed and just change the coloring in
Mm-hmm.
post.
Oh,
Like
100%. That's
yeah,
what they were doing.
you had in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 there was Scorpion was yellow, Sub-Zero
Mm-hmm.
was blue,
Mm-hmm.
and you had Reptile was green.
Reptile
Those
was
were your
green.
those
Yep.
were your original three, and then you got Ermac
Yep.
was orange, I think,
Ermac.
and then there was a purple one.
Rain.
Rain, yep, Rain was dope because he had that like spinning kick where you could kick you completely through the screen and you'd land on the other side. Like if you got somebody in that spinning back kick that didn't know how to block, you could just kick their face off until it was game over. Just boom, and they'd fly through the screen and then kick the other way, and just keep
Oh
boom,
shit.
boom, boom, back and forth. And then,
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
yeah,
The Pac-Man effect. They'd go out the left side, come back in the right,
yep,
and
and they'd
then
land
you'd
right
kick them
next to you,
again.
and you kick them again, and you just keep doing it, just keep volleying them back and
That
forth
was
to
Rain who
yourself.
did that?
Yeah, that was Rain. And then there was Smoke was all black,
Yep.
and there was a
That's all I remember for the ninjas. Because there
I
was
thought there
also
was
the
a red one.
cybernetic
Yes,
ninjas, but they were
yes,
just a reflection of the original ninjas, basically.
yeah, because then
Except for they started out as yellow and red, and then
yeah,
eventually there was like smoke was their gray version of that too.
right, yep, you had
And yeah,
Scythe or whatever, and yeah, the red and yellow one, and then there was a smoke one, and then I think there was a purple one of those too, but I can't remember what he
I
was
think there
called.
was too. I feel like that one was Rain also, but I don't know why you'd call a robot Rain, so I don't know.
Yeah, I
Which
don't
is
know.
also totally just like a Predator ripoff, right? Like that ninja is just like a
Yeah,
human predator, right?
yeah, those robots were very
Yeah,
predator-ish, but
yeah, they quite were.
yeah. And
Nothing against Mortal Kombat, man. Mortal Kombat 2 is like
no,
I grew up on that shit.
I
I don't even know
love
how many of those games like are good or not, but I remember them getting all of those characters and it just getting really, really crazy.
dude, I remember like I know for sure that I was one of those kids that just drove their parents nuts by doing the same thing over and over because I remember getting like one of those cheat code books
Oh
and
yeah.
putting in the codes to like watch all the fatalities and stuff. So
Oh yeah.
I would play the one where it would just show all the fatalities and all the like in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 it would show all the fatalities, all the babalities where you would turn them into babies,
Turn into
all the
babies.
brutalities where they would just beat the shit out of you, and then there
Beat them
was
until they fucking exploded.
right, and there was animalities where they turned into these big fake. Those were real bad. They didn't look good at
Those
all.
were
Those were
no,
like
they
the
yeah.
the
Those are
first
way too
It
much.
movie where you see the spider at the end and you're just like, that's not even scary. It's so fake, you know. But I remember it would be they would have that same tune and then they'd have the person screaming, and I'm sure my
Yeah.
friends from the other room would always that all they would hear is ding ding ding, ah, ding ding ding, ah, just over and over.
Because there's 24 characters in this game and you want to see them all.
And each one of them has like two or three fatalities.
Right. That's yeah, I forgot that that was the case too. Don't forget about friendships. Friendships are back now too. They just put them
Right.
into Mortal Kombat 11.
Friendship. I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, I remember the only friendship that was any good was uh Scorpion's, where he would take off his mask and reveal his skeleton, and the other person would
Mm-hmm.
still scream, "Ah!" And then they just run away. And then he just like look at the camera and cross his arms and it's a friendship. And his version of friendship is just not killing you.
It's just not killing. That's the best way to put it, right? Yeah, I was gonna say scaring the shit out of you, but you're right. Just not killing you. That's his version of friendship.
We're friends now. So
We're friends. I
you to
didn't
live.
fucking murder you, so that's how it works.
Right.
Oh my god. That was the other thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up is the 2D versus 3D because we've been talking about 2D a lot, and obviously we grew up on 2D then.
hmm
Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat 2. Those were my two that really got me into 2Ds. And I still play the 2D fighters. Like I play uh, new Street Fighter and stuff like that. Because even though it's built in 3D, it still only plays in 2D. And so the I think DOA might have been the first. No, Tekken, of course, Tekken. But that 2D fighting on the 2D plane where you can really only punch,
hmm
kick, block. When you get into 3D and that sidestep comes in, it's a fucking game changer. And
Yes.
oh my god, that just changes everything. When you can just sidestep people,
hmm
it totally. Oh my god, I love it.
It's
But
huge.
yeah, and where I was going with it is like your DOA or your virtual fighter technique was very no, completely dependent on 3D gaming basically.
Yeah. Yep. Because you can't evade like I was evading in the 2D games. I mean, you can back up,
Right.
but
Yeah,
that's about it. I mean,
but sometimes that's block also in the 2D game.
right, when you're just trying to back up is block. Yeah, when you're hitting back is block with those.
Mhm.
So you kind of blocked, not even trying to. I was like evading, but that was block. But
Mhm.
yeah, another thing for me with 3D is I can do it, but my brain doesn't like to go from right to left. I don't like being player two. I like being player one, going left to right.
Oh.
So when it's
Mhm.
3D and you could sidestep, it was a lot easier
Mhm.
to just sidestep, 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 and be back the
Oh,
way.
and get back to the side you wanted to be.
Yes,
Oh
where
shit.
where
I
the
never
yeah
noticed
where the
that.
other yeah where the other games you're like trying to jump over the person. Like I don't want to be on this side, and you're trying to jump over them, and they catch you in an uppercut
Right.
while you're trying to jump over them. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
damn it.
Uh-huh. Shit, I never even thought about that. And funny thing is did you know there's a Pokemon fighting game?
Yes.
Yeah, so Pokken Tournament. Funny enough, we just played it the other weekend. We have it on the Wii U. So in that situation, you have two screens. So you're never not player one, even when you're two player local.
Mm,
Do do you
I
get
get
it?
it. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a 3D fighting game, but still, no matter what, you're just like kind of over the shoulder, almost, uh, yeah, almost in like an adventure game where you're just kind of like over the right shoulder, just over the left shoulder, depending on sort of where you are
Yeah.
in the environment, like what wall you're up against, kind of. And yeah, you're never not first player. It totally sucks to play on the tiny screen, but for
Sure.
instance, in this case that you're talking about, oh shit, got the hookup.
Right. Right. Right.
I never thought
But
about it before. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I
I
wonder if I
guess
do that now. I'm gonna pay attention when I
yeah.
play 3D fighters again.
Some people don't care, like, but that's just my personal opinion. Like, I can fight from the right. It feels better to go from the left.
Yeah, no, I got you because I am better. I'm better fighting from the left, and if I get kicked over to the right side, I do have to adjust. I know that. But I wonder if I purposely try to get back over. I never thought about it. Huh. Anyways, uh, did you come to the arcade? Quick, did you ever come to the arcade with us when we were playing Virtual Fighter? Because arcades were still a thing. So for all you kids out there used to be this place where you would go, usually inside a mall, and they had video games in these tall standing cabinets.
Mm-hmm. And they were dope.
They were fucking dope. And fighting games were the big shit because it was all always one on one, and you'd have to like work your way onto the machine. If you could get on there, you held it down, and you next player would come in.
Right.
So if you stayed on that machine, you were a fucking badass.
Yep. And if somebody's having a hot hand, it was just like, I'm gonna go throw a quarter in this machine. I'm gonna fuck this dude up. I'm gonna take his
Uh
spot.
huh. I'm gonna
I'm
take his
gonna
spot.
I'm gonna be the guy.
Yeah. Did you ever come to? Because we went to the arcade a couple times. I think the one that used to be in the Mall of America to play Virtua Fighter. And remember, we were controller kids, but we were so good at knowing our characters and our button combos. We just had to memorize where the buttons were on. Like, oh, that's high kick and that's low kick, and I'm just making them up. But oh, okay, there they
Right.
are. So I know what this means, and this is how it translates. Clickety clack, and we'd be fighting. You know, pumping because then it was just a quarter. After your first dollar, you're in it. You know how to work your control or your character again.
Right. Yeah. Um, I don't know if I came with you guys to do that. I know that we went to the Mall of America one time with Brian because we wanted to play Initial D,
Yeah,
but I don't remember going there just to play Virtua Fighter.
just to
But
play.
I
Yeah.
did play Virtua Fighter a lot as a child. We used to go to the Burnsville Mall
Oh
a
yeah.
lot for whatever. Like my mom had to go shopping or it was Christmas or whatever, and it wasn't. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a constant thing, but every time we went there, it was like a given. Like I'm gonna go to uh, the arcade today, and I'm gonna fight some dudes. Well, and it wasn't always the fighting games. It depended on what was open that day. Because
Okay.
I used
Right.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
Turtles in Time was dope when that was around. There was a
Mm-hmm.
Simpsons game that was a lot like that. That one
There
was
used to be
fun
the
too.
side-scrolling Simpsons beat 'em up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the four-player one where you could be Marge and
Yeah.
you had her vacuum cleaner and Bart had
Yep.
the skateboard.
Different kind of fighting games, that's for sure.
Yes,
That's not
that's not
different
what we're
kind of
talking
fighting game.
about, but like that's what I used to. I would play
Did you
those
play
side
Virtua
scrolling.
Fighter against people in the arcade
Yeah,
as a kid? Nice.
yeah, the old school one. You get people fighting every once in a while, and that I really liked that game
Mhm.
because you had kind of a level playing field. It wasn't like Street Fighter where if you knew how to do one of those super combos or Mortal Kombat, where
Mhm.
you knew how to do
Mhm.
the special moves where you could shoot a fireball at me from across the screen. Like
Mhm.
I could come in and I could fight you just based off of principles of, you know, jab, low kick,
Punch.
grab,
Y-
stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
have
And then how a specific fighting style works in those,
right.
like a wrestler or a drunken
Mhm.
monk. Is he drunk monk? Is that what he that
Um
one I can't remember. But
kung
either way,
Probably
yeah.
kung fu,
Kung
just a drunken
kung
guy.
fu.
Yeah.
There is actually a fighting style that has to do with being intoxicated. I can't remember it right now. And
Oh
that's what
yeah,
it
there's
was.
a Jackie Chan movie about it. It's awesome. The Drunken
Oh, for
Master.
real?
Yeah, the whole
Oh
movie's
shit.
about him. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. He beats up a
Huh.
lot of people
That's awesome.
very intoxicated.
Yeah. Yes, dude. That's great. Okay. Well, that's it. I don't want to keep dragging this on. We're going to try to keep this one inside the hour. I think once we edit this one down, that could actually happen.
Hey, look at that. We're getting better.
Yep, we're trying to get a rhythm and trying to rein
Hopefully
us
I
in a
didn't
little bit
say
because we could keep going,
yeah, and hopefully I didn't say like too many times. That's something I was
dude.
trying to watch. I listened to it back and I'm like, I say like I just said I just now I said I'm like I said it a bunch just now. I don't
This particular one, I've been catching myself going, I love it, I like it, it's good stuff. Like I've just been like high praises on everything, and it's just been bugging me. So hopefully it doesn't bug anybody else too much. You don't hear it as often as I feel like I said it. Because I just like, I guess that's how I'm gonna end this conversation. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, I don't have no
love
idea how else
it.
to end the conversation and keep it moving. Give me a
Love it.
fucking break. I'm still working on this shit.
Yeah, we're not pros yet. Not
Yet.
professional until we have enough people listening to this thing that we can quit our fucking jobs. So tell your friends, because
Yeah.
I don't want to do work.
Get bit on the knee by a fucking dog
Yeah, I
again
don't want to get
because
bit on the goddamn knee by this stupid dog because its owner is too shitty to train it properly. And then to just
although
be,
props to all you delivery people, seriously, even when there's not a pandemic going on, it's like little Christmas presents whenever you guys come to the door. You know, it's fucking great.
hey, we try. Except for there's so many people that think that I'm supposed to know what the fuck is in your box. I don't know. Do you think the
That's just
mailman?
the weirdest assumption.
Do you
I
think
don't
that?
even get that.
Do you think that the mailman knows what's in your envelopes? I'll just be
Oh,
bringing something in. They're like, "Oh, are those the shoes I bought?" And I go, "I don't know. It's coming from this store. Did you buy shoes from this store?" All I know is where it
did you buy
came.
shoes from Tires Plus? I don't
Right.
fucking know.
All I can tell you is where it came from and where it's going. Some people are like, "Is that for John?" Like, dude, I don't even look at the name. I'm trying to find your address. I don't give a shit who
That's
you
it.
are.
The name part, that's your fucking problem.
Right. I don't care if this is to John or Sally. It doesn't matter. You can write whatever you want on there. I'm not gonna. People do that
Yep.
sometimes too.
Oh,
Like
I do it. I
you've,
think it's fucking
yeah, you've
hilarious.
done that to me before. I can't remember. You
Yeah.
mailed me something and put a completely random ass name because that doesn't matter. All you got to do is have the address
Yeah.
right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I do it to all you guys.
Yeah.
It's I just mailed Sam something when he uh when they were pregnant with Milo, and I put Rusty Shackelford on there
Rusty
because of
Shackleford.
because of fucking King of the Hill.
Right.
I love it. It doesn't matter. I know the name part is irrelevant.
Right. Dr.
Uh,
Whisker Stinkfinger. You know, just whatever you want. Just make something up. I just popped that one off the top of my head. Write it down. Send it on the
Damn, that shit
package.
was good.
It doesn't matter. It's just gonna come to your house. It doesn't matter. As long as you got the
You're gonna
address
get,
right.
and it's gonna make you fucking laugh when you get a package that says for. Does that say for Doctor Whisker Stinkfinger? What the fuck?
Who's this guy? And then
Oh,
you forget that you did it. Who? Oh, these are the shoes I ordered. I
you did
forgot it.
it to yourself.
I forgot.
Want.
I forgot
Oh
I did
fuck.
that.
I might do that the next time I order something.
Right.
It sounds delightful.
Put the return address as your mom's house. Just don't. Just write your mom's
Just
house.
write your mom's house on it. Oh my
Just make
god.
sure you got the
Okay.
you just make sure you got the address of where it's going to correct.
Yeah,
And make sure
that's
that
it.
and make sure people that you know if the person has their name listed or whatever, how they're listed in the thing. I get a lot of those where I send them back because it says like apartment 308 and the listings when I get there the little call box has everybody's name in it. It doesn't say their apartment number.
No apartment number.
So I'm like, well, I can't get this to the person because I don't know their name. I only know their apartment number, or vice versa, where
Mm-hmm.
I'll have the person's name, but it only lists apartment number. And make sure that they're listed
Shit.
on it. A lot of times it'll
Oh,
say like
right.
apartment 107, this person's name, and they'll only have the people's names, but it won't even say the person that you're sending it to because they'll have like the boyfriend is the main person and you're sending it to the
Oh,
girlfriend and the
to this.
girlfriend doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
her name on there or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, well, then I send it back because I don't know who her boyfriend is. Don't.
Well, one thing people can't send back is this podcast.
Yeah.
Send it off to somebody. Send it off to a friend. Send it off to your neighbor. Tell somebody so that way we can keep making more of this. It's Real AF TV. Check us out. We're definitely at the internet place.
Yeah.
Real REELAF.TV. You could definitely find us there. do the like, subscribe, and thing, but share it. Share it. You like it? Share it. They can't
Yeah,
return it.
let them know. And don't forget the two
It's a little
E's.
gift.
That's the most important part. Real AF TV or realaf.com. Both are going to get you where you need to go as long as you remember that it's two E's.
That is right. And that is going to bring this episode to a fantastic conclusion. This has been the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing. Ugh. Let me try that again. I'm going to do a retake. I'll keep this in, though. That's just how we're going to do shit around here.
Yeah.
This has been the Real AF TV podcast, the show where we talk about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. You don't have to be from the land of 10,000 lakes to enjoy it, but that is definitely something we're going for. We're just
Yeah.
letting you know where we're from. Tim,
Yes,
another
sir.
good podcast. I'm ready to put this one in the books.
Yep. Me too. Random cakes
Oh.
from the land of 10,000 bakes.
Oh,
I don't know.
are we going to do a donut special next? Maybe.